Good afternoon. It's Erica of Airport Arts. I'm here for Sunday demo, but on Monday. And I am home. Drive back from Dubuque was not bad. Though once I got off Route 20, the roads were not quite as nice as they were on Route 20. Route 20 did a beautiful job. They even cleared their shoulders. Not so much on 218. Perhaps less said about my town of Waverly, because Dubuque was beautifully cleared even in the residential areas. I just see ice starting to build up already here in Waverly. And as someone who's primarily a pedestrian, I don't like that. So anyway, so I haven't unloaded the van yet. I just brought like the food in, or at least the perishable foods. So I still have to go back out there, but there was no good parking spot. So maybe I will move it later and unload. We will see. Okay, what are we doing today? Today, customer Emily, friend Emily, had a request for a Godzilla-inspired bat. Now, I'm not going to try and do exactly Godzilla because the people who own the Godzilla franchise are sort of like the Disney people. And so we want to do no copyright infringement whatsoever, okay? Because I don't want to get a cease and desist letter. But I can still draw perhaps some colors, add a couple other, variations that still give you Godzilla without being exactly Godzilla. So what are we going to use for our base? We have this Romney that I got from, this is from Nob Hill. I think it's Nob Hill. Hang on. I have their card over here. Woolly Knob. I always get their name wrong. Woolly Knob Fiber Mill in Indiana. And then I have a little bit of this other green. So I'll add a little bit of that in there. I'm also going to just put in a little bit, not much because this is lighter. I've got this merino blend that I got. I just want to put in just a little for some depth and variation. And then I'm going to get rid of this. Because I want to extend them because she's Emily is going to be using these to make a rug, pegloom rug. And so I want to make sure she's got some bulk that she can use. So I've got, I'm not going to use a lot of this, mainly because that's all I have left of the Crush Color Bamboo. And then I also have Spring Green. I might have another little bit of it somewhere, but I don't have a lot of that either. So we're not using a lot of that. And then finally we're going to use some silk noil. This is Tussa silk noil. It's not as nubby as the mulberry silk that I used to have. But this is, if you've seen a lot of Godzilla often rises from the sea and she's got sea foam. So we're going to use a little bit of that too. Okay, so let me move the rest of the scale out of the way and get you set up over Sebastian, who's what we're using today. If you've been following my posts, you know I have increased the number of drum carters I have by 2 in the last, well, it's now December, but in the last 30 days. Actually, the last 2 weeks, really. Hang on, I got stuff falling over here. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so I now have in addition to Sebastian here, in addition to Cadfile, who's my brother drum carter, and Squirt, who's my other drum carter. I gotta find the end on this. And Molly, who's my fancy kitten. And Tina, who's my no-name Canadian one. So she's going to get 2 bats eventually. In fact, that's what I meant to do. Well, they don't have to be of equal size. Because she's using them together, so it doesn't really matter. I now have a Clemis and Clemis, old style standard, so back the figure 8 drive band. Which doesn't have a dry band. I have to get it a dry band. And then I got an Ashford. Would it be silly to name an Ashford Ashley? I don't know. Those 2 are both eventually going to need names. But so an Ashford standard manual. Someday I'd like to get an Ashford wild card. Okay. So here is that Romney. We're just going to lay down a layer. Yeah, I got home around lunchtime. Eloise was incredibly glad I was home, and she was running up and down the stairs and all excited. And then I sat down for a few minutes to look at mail, and she got on my lap because she was all excited because I was home. And then we both promptly fell asleep. So I've taken one nap already today. Yay! Okay. So let me decide if I want to use... I don't know if I want to use the whole thing. This Romney is very fuzzy. Got little bits coming up like that. So I think what I'm just going to do is just like a little bit. In some random places. So we can get... So if you look at Godzilla, he's not always sort of solid color. Whereas Godzilla is she. I don't know these things. I have a friend who does work on Godzilla. Popular culture stuff. I think this is also the Romney as well. It's in the same bag. Okay, so did that. We did that. Let us... I think what I'm going to do is sort of roughly half. I'm going to save this for the other next batch. Over there. Okay, let's see what I got over here for my spring green. Definitely need to get more of this. For now, I'm gonna... I think there's more in here than half, but I'm gonna put that aside for the second batch as well. I will pull more out of it if I need it. Press everything down. And then we will find what I did with that silk noil. The silk noil just sort of wanders away because it's just so light. Got a big bag of it down off camera here. So, oh, and I just tossed that piece around. I'm not going to put this all on. We're just going to do like, just like that. Just a little bit. So it's more suggested than everything else, because the olive greenish here is going to really predominate. Yeah, so Heloise is currently, now that we've both woken up, and she's had another snack, she's currently on her pile of perch of totes. Oh, actually no, she's gone to the windowsill. Because the radiator, it's now winter, the radiator is on, and so the radiators are under the window, and so she is either on the windowsill, getting the heat as it comes up, or her perch backs up to the windowsill, and she lies on it, looks out the window, but then puts her front legs out onto the windowsill so the heat comes up like right here and into her armpits. That's like one of her favorite ways to position herself. Okay, I've just been flattening this out. Emily, if you're watching, any feedback would be great. And this sort of splurge of lighter color, I'm just sort of putting in random places. Oh, that's a very... there was something blue there, but that blue goes there. That was a very short piece on there. white. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving if you're watching from the U.S. Obviously, if you're one of my New Zealand followers, ignore that question. Hello, Donna. I did get sort of a takeaway Thanksgiving meal from the church across the way because the bridge is open, yay! And I could walk across the bridge instead of having to walk like an extra 10 to 15 minutes. So it was still warm when I walked home with it. And that was your traditional turkey, but they also had ham. And it was like you didn't get to choose what you wanted, they just sort of handed it to you. Though I was able to sort of say they were alternating the desserts. It was like, pumpkin pie or apple? Pumpkin, and they were doing alternating, and I was like, the person ahead of me got apple, and I was like, can I get an apple? Because I don't eat the pumpkin pie. There's usually just too much dairy in it for me. And making yourself sick on Thanksgiving is not a good thing. So, but I had Friendsgiving this weekend, and we had, I don't think I posted the pictures even on my own page. We tend to always do beef. The only vegetable would be potatoes if I didn't show up. Sorry, Lisa and Nancy, if you're watching. Actually, no, I lie. One year, Lisa did make a butternut squash soup. It was very good. But she makes the mashed potatoes and the gravy. She does most of the cooking. I do the sides in terms of salads or vegetables. I made us a spinach salad that had walnuts and navel orange pieces in it. Would have had caramelized onions, but I forgot the onions here. Just gonna put a little more of this on. You can tell this is one of those clingy, small fiber mill rovings. And then let's see what else. So the orange, and then I made a dressing with maple syrup and salt and olive oil and orange juice that I made while cutting up the orange segments. And then I heated up the dressing and poured it over it, so we had sort of a sort of wilted. This is very thin. It's like pencil roving. It's called pencil roving. I think I'm just going to use the whole thing. But we'll see. We'll see what it looks like. Probably there. And then let's see what else. And yeah, so that was like the vegetable. And then we had pumpkin pie and apple pie. I only had the apple because, as I said, I don't really eat the pumpkin pie. There's just a little too much dairy in it. And then we had our traditional sangria. Because maraschino cherries at the bottom are fun. I got to hang out with 4 cats, all of whom were very social. You know, sometimes there's a household where there's multiple cats and there's one cat who's just like barely interacts with the humans. Nope. This was great. I had all sorts of, most of them slept on me. Mostly Athena, but I may post their photos on the pages. Just, I got some good photos of all of them. So once I finish with the bats, I'm going to finish the last of the invoicing from the weekend. I did not get much stuff done at my friend's house because I was being social. And now I'm exhausted because I'm social but not that social. We did watch a lot of fun things on the TV. So we watched, I think it was all of Fisk, which is an Australian comedy. And then we didn't watch all of it, but we watched most of the British Ghosts. More TV than I normally watch, that's for sure, because I barely watch TV. Maybe this is thicker. Yes. I think that, well, no, this is still pretty thin too. I think this is maybe the end of a run. I don't think they normally do pin ribbon. Nope. And actually, I went and had a remodel envy. They'd done a remodel on their place, and the bathrooms in particular. Well, no, well, she now has a walk-in closet, but the showers were beautiful, and I was like, oh my goodness, people need to buy lots of bats so I can remodel my bathroom. Just a little bit of oil each time. And since she's planning on ripping this into strips to use for the peg loom, she doesn't actually spin, she just pulls it. I think the placement of the silk noil is such that if she feels like it's too much, she could sort of perhaps roll it under so it's not up and exposed. Give her a little option there. What are we doing on fullness? It's very fuzzy. So one of the reasons I'm being sure to tease it out so that it will go on more easily than if it was in more of a lump. A little bit more over here. It's getting super thin. So Donna, I don't think you got any snow where you are. Most around here was like 10 to 12 inches. And a nice early start to the snow season, which I think it's going to be a winter where we get a lot of snow. Which I do not find exciting. I am not a snow bunny in any way, means, or form. Okay, do I have any more of the white? No, we're out. I'm a sit in front of the fire with a hot chocolate type of person. Not that I have a fire, but I do have a space heater. I can sit in front of the space heater with a cat on my lap and a hot chocolate and a good book. Oh, yeah. And the knitting, of course, the knitting with me. My it's not really an in-person, but my guild has a sale middle of the month. In fact, we just got an email on it about the types of things they'd like to see. So like none of my summer stuff. I think I'll bring all my jackets, pants, and skirts. And like my longer sleeve tops. And maybe a handful of dresses. Particularly ones that have sleeves. Like maybe I'll leave the sleeveless at home. Though in winter I wear sleeveless with like a sweater over it. We are getting full. This might be the last layer on this one. One of the ways we can also test that, because I weighed normally I don't weigh beforehand, but I did weigh that larger ball. Get the bindle off that. There we go. Give me an idea. Oh, actually, no, this is not, there's not a lot on there. Okay. So maybe an ounce and a half. This is getting very full. So, Emily, there might be 3 bats, if you're watching. Just because of the amount I can get in, particularly with this type of small mill roving, there's so much air in this bat. Let's see. Let's do that one right there. A little bit light, but we're going to bury it with some of this. This is very full. Not going to weigh a lot, but it's still very full. Because you see stuff jumping over to the liquor in here. I found the other Noel hiding in the back there. Okay, that is all I'm going to be able to fit on there. So let's pull this out of the way. Figure out what I did with, there it is, this. So if you want to take a guess at how much it weighs, this would be the time to do it. If I break the bat, I'm rather liking it. I think it gives good Godzilla vibes. I do think it's going to be on the lighter end. I think I need another cup of tea, though. I'm not totally awake yet. After that wonderful nap. I always sleep better with a kitty sleeping on top of me. Particularly if I'm sleeping on the sofa. Okay, that doesn't want to go down in there. So this may drag out a bit. We will see what happens. Also going to get the... Where'd it go? Where'd I put it? I'm going to get the knitting needle ready because I already know this is going to try and stick to the drum. It's the nature of this style of roving. It just wants to fill in every little space with wispy little bits that weigh nothing but still like leave residue behind. What you find from these little cottage mills. Oh yeah, that is having a hard trouble time. I had to really push that backwards. So I may have some after combing being done back here. Got a little bit of silk and oil sort of floating around here. We'll just encourage it to sort of hang out right there. Getting there. I can already see it has combed past the doffer crease. It was just very lumpy there. Okay, so there's the doffer crease. And we've still got fiber here. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Remembering that I will fluff it out a bit. Does that give you a Godzilla vibe? What do you think? So it will be thinner. It's still pretty thick because I know it's a light bat. So let's just roll this up, turn this on. Tear it out. This video, by the way, will be uploaded to YouTube, and if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. It will be completely unedited, because otherwise it would never get up. Okay, I think we're going to have to end up doing 3 of these bats, or as much as I can get out of the material. So this is going to be called G-Zilla, because I don't want to use the name. And this one is 2.17 ounces. So that's pretty light. Usually I can get like closer to 3. So Emily, if you're watching, I will essentially make bats until I use up the material. And you can decide how much you want of it. But I'm starting with like roughly 5 ounces of fiber. Plus then I add the stuff in. Other stuff in. So okay. So that is the G-Zilla bats. I'm just trying to fill out that part there. Okay. I probably won't get any photos posted up today. It's very dark and gray today. But I'll probably have some photos tomorrow to show off. So, hope you all have a very pleasant first week of December. And I will see you around on social media.